Well, fellas, we had a lot of football this week, as we said. Thursday night games, Saturday games, Sunday games, Monday games. Week 17 was crazy. The playoff picture, as we knew it, is still pretty much in line, but there's teams, we're going to get into it, that are slipping down that pole. Let's jump right in. Thursday games, Christmas games, a little candy cane holiday thing. Yeah, I know. Dallas and Washington. Dallas took care of business 30-23. We saw Diggs come back, guys, only to see him cut today, which is mind-boggling. We can get into that later. But Dallas wins. Detroit, I don't know how Minnesota is winning with this quarterback, guys. But now Detroit, of course. Yeah, any of their quarterbacks. Hard to believe, but we won't spend a lot of time on these non-playoff games. But they lose to Minnesota 23-10. Denver, guys, looks like they could be one of the best teams in football. They pull off the win in Kansas City, and admittingly, without Patrick Mahomes, 20-13. Okay, so that's the games that weren't so important. Here's a couple games that were. And Josh, I'll start with you. Houston goes into the Chargers. We know that our boy, Herbert is hurt. They win 2016. Tim, were you the Lone Ranger in this? Did you pick Houston?
I did pick Houston.
Okay.
I did.
Well, we're going to you then. I mean, then you got it right. I mean, what's going on? Is it because Herbert's hurt, or is it what's going on with the Chargers? Why are they limping into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it's funny how just two plays make a difference, a possible storyline change here. And Cameron Dicker, their kicker, again, you can't put it all on the kicker, but he missed a 32-yard field goal and an extra point. You add that math up, and we have a 2020 game going to overtime, and could be talking a different story here. So I think Justin Herbert actually had a really good game. But it's the same storyline we've been saying over and over again. Their offensive line, I don't think is going to be able to withstand a team like Houston, who has just not probably the best defense in football. And so Houston's looking good, and I think the Chargers might possibly be limping into this one.
Yeah, I thought the two plays that you were going to mention were one of the first three drives for the Texans. They had a 75-yard touchdown to Jaden Higgins, and then a 43-yard touchdown to Jalen Noel to start it off. Then their offense didn't do much beyond that. C.J. Stroud starting off with those two touchdowns and ending off with two interceptions. So their defense, once again, famously kept them alive throughout the rest of that game. So hats off to them, of course.
I was so excited, to jump in and talk about Week 17 that I forgot to mention. Been promising we were going to have a guest, and our first guest, we have another one next week. Stan Dimich is with us. We're so excited. We've been bugging him for years, and he finally broke. I thought the Detroit-Dallas wager would get you, but I was probably premature with that. But Stan, we are so glad to have you for sure.
Well, it's great to be on. I've been watching you guys since you guys started when you were not even doing video. You guys were just doing audio and listening to that. So, yeah, I've been watching you guys. I'm not going to be able to dig as deep in the stats, but I definitely follow and can jump in. Actually, I did have a point on the game we're talking about right now, the Houston game. I mean, I agree with Josh and Tim. I think Herbert and the Chargers, they didn't play that bad. Houston's got the best defense in the NFL. I mean, I feel like they do. And Herbert is always getting hit regardless. So this game was just like the worst of all worlds for him. He's going up against the best defense, and he's always getting hit. So he got sacked 5 times, and they still almost won. They won. But, we'll have to see. Maybe they'll see each other again. But
Caleb, bring us home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to piggyback off, I was going to say what Stan was going to say, that he was sacked 5 times, which is hard. Stroud sacked 0 times, which that was surprising. Usually their O-line's in shambles, as it was in the first half of the year. But the big thing, I think, is their rushing game. They did nothing. They had 74 rushing yards, and Herbert was leading their team with 37. And I believe Vidal was a healthy scratch for some reason. I don't know if it was what that was. But Marion Hampton only 29 yards on 14 touches. So not good, not the Greg Roman offense we've seen this year, where they just run out the clock and dominate the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, it's just an off game. That Texas defense really showed how good they were in this game.
All right, another game that's going to have playoff implications in terms of the two teams. Baltimore, they beat Green Bay 41-24. I don't understand how they're putting up points without their starting quarterback.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry had the game of his life. Spoiler alert, if you played against him in fantasy, you probably didn't win. Because he definitely impacted our fantasy league, didn't he?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
At least you got to see yourself, not you, but I mean, I played him in another fantasy championship as well. You got to see witness the loss early. You didn't have to have the hopefulness of that 45-point game.
There are a couple guys in this crew that, we're on the wrong side of that. We're on the wrong side of that for sure.
Well, this is it's not half, but this is nearly half of our fantasy. Anyway, of our good league. So I say good league because they were in a bunch. Yeah, but I say playoff implications, guys, because Baltimore with a win this week against Pittsburgh can limp into the playoffs. Do we know, Josh, if they're going to have their quarterback back for the playoffs? Is that possible?
You're saying if they make it beyond this week?
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't ruled it out. I don't really know the severity of the back injury, but they immediately ruled him out from that previous game, but they haven't said much beyond that. So I don't know, to be honest. They went into the playoffs one year with Tyler Huntley playing for them, and it was a close game, I believe, against the Bengals 2 years ago. So they've had him in the playoffs. They've had him in tight games and in contention for the division. So it's no different there. But we can't expect them to go far, even if they happen to go into the playoffs with Tyler Huntley.
And the stat line: 216 yards on 4 touchdowns, 36 carries. That's insane. Let's go back to you, Tim. Malik Willis threw for 288 yards and a touchdown. Other than leaving the game with a shoulder injury and coming back, I think the guy looks pretty good in that role. I mean, he's definitely mobile. I mean, not bad.
Yeah, I think he winds up. I think there's no way the Packers will be able to retain him as a backup next year. I think he's better than 4 or 5 starting quarterbacks right now in the league. He's shown he still has it. He's shown with a good offense that's built around him, he can do it. Just Packers have just been too banged up, lost too many good players, too many key players, and unfortunately they're limping into the playoffs, as we said before we started rolling tonight. It's not looking good for Green Bay, but Malik Willis is looking good. I will say that
he looked very good. I thought his mobility was. We always say it on the show a lot. When you prepare for A and then you have to play B, you didn't really spend time suiting up against or game plan against B. So obviously you take note of who backups are, but it changes the pace a great deal. So that said, we shall see the next. Go ahead.
Stan had a point. I have a point after him.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, too, like, this game was a little funny because if I'm not mistaken, the Lions' loss on Thursday meant Packers had guaranteed their playoff spot, correct? They kind of guaranteed it by this point. Right. So the Ravens are playing desperate in this game. They need to win to stay alive. Packers have already locked up their spot. They handed the ball off to Derrick Henry 36 times. So, I mean, I can get it. I can kind of get it. They're playing desperate to stay alive, and I'm really excited about that game next week. We'll talk about that later. But
Caleb, you close us out on this. But call me stupid. I have Derrick Henry. I'm probably giving the ball to him 35 times.
You would think they'd done that more than once this year.
Right. That's my point.
What I just don't understand, what's a little concerning to me at least, is the Packers defense. They knew it was coming. Tyler Huntley's playing. Their offense, receiving-wise, has been a dud this year.
Right.
They know Derrick Henry's coming, and they still allowed that to happen. They have great Pro Bowl linebackers, Quay Walker and Adrian Cooper, so it was a little concerning to see that happen at this point of the season. Maybe it is, like Stan said, they played a little light because they knew they were already going to the dance. But, it's concerning to me.
All right, I don't want to spend a lot of time. We have a lot to get to tonight, actually. But Pittsburgh, trap game, y'all. They let Shador beat up on them 13-6. Pittsburgh loses. Josh, I'm going to let you have it, and then we're going to move on. Anything we need to say about this game in terms of playoffs, Aaron Rodgers? I mean, obviously their best wide receiver's not on the field. Their best pass rusher's not on the field.
Yeah. Now, I like the wording, letting Shador beat up on them. They scored a whopping 13 points. I don't know if you saw the touchdown to Harold Fannin, but there was 2 defenders there. I think Duggar and Samuel were there, and there was just clearly something going on, confusion. They didn't see the ball.
Nobody knew where the ball was.
They almost reacted as if the ball wasn't in the air, and Harold Fannin rolled into the end zone. So I liked how you worded that, but nothing happened in this game. If you didn't watch this game, congratulations, you missed absolutely nothing. The running game, Dylan Sampson was a starter because Judkins is out now, 11 for 27, 2.5 yards a carry there. And then the Steelers, they had good efficiency from Jaylen Warren, but he only had 12 rushes because they were playing from behind the entire game. It was just a very depressing game, and obviously it makes this next upcoming week something worth watching, obviously, because it matters now, instead of them just casually swiping by the Browns and taking over the division. So now maybe we get to see an exciting game between Tyler Huntley and Aaron Rodgers.
Go ahead, Stan.
So yeah, no, he just stole my last point because I was saying the one good thing that came out of it is it set up a great final week matchup. It's essentially a playoff game. The playoffs start early in the final week, so that's the only good thing that came out. It was a horrible game to watch.
Yeah, well, for the record, the Browns are 6-31 when they score 14 points or less, and they scored 13 and pulled out a win. I do have to ask you, Stan. Go ahead, Josh.
I was going to say, whatever team ends up making the playoffs between these two teams, obviously someone has to. They're both going to end off with, I believe, 9 wins. Steelers have 10, 9 if they lose, and then the Ravens would have 9 if they win. So on paper, it looks good, whatever. But it forces one of them into momentum going into the playoffs, whatever it is. They're both are lacking in momentum beyond the Derrick Henry game last week, and the Ravens going into it obviously have more momentum than the Steelers, but it forces one of the teams to have some momentum heading into the playoffs, which they've both been lacking for most of the season.
See what happens when I say we're not going to spend much time. I do have to clear some up, Stan. Yeah. I think I speak for all the guys when I say we're not big fans of J.J. McCarthy, and we're certainly not big fans of Shedeur Sanders, and here's why. They suck at throwing the football.
Yes, no, we've been talking about this. I mean, J.J. McCarthy at Michigan was a system quarterback for Harbaugh, and it worked well. It worked well at Michigan, but as a pro prospect, I'm with you guys. I haven't been seeing it. Maybe he'll turn it around. I don't want to be that guy that, says never say never, but I'm not seeing it right now.
And Shedeur?
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Man.
He doesn't listen to the podcast, so you can say what you want.
Yeah. I haven't. Well, the thing is, I haven't seen Shedeur as much as I've seen J.J. McCarthy. So, I got to be careful because I don't know too much. I think he throws a better ball. I'll say that. He throws a better long ball than J.J. McCarthy. But can he process the defense as quickly on the line of scrimmage? That I don't know.
He did throw 186 yards and a touchdown this week, so there's that.
Well, to his credit, a lot of Shedeur's passes have been longer passes. I mean, Cedric Tillman 1 for 42. Isaiah Bond, last month, has had all deep receptions. Then you have long receptions of 15, 28, 19, 16, 10 from all these receivers in this game. So when he has plays, it is to Stan's credit, more down the field, more targeting the deeper routes, which he's been. That's been his best part of his game so far in the NFL.
Correct. Yeah.
Tim, you have something before we move on?
No, nope. I agree with everything you guys are saying, and I'm glad those two are not my quarterback. I'll just say that.
Correct.
Hey,
I would agree.
But in fairness, as a Packer and a Lions fan, you're glad the Vikings have JJ as their quarterback, right? It's like all the time you need to figure it out, right?
That's right.
All right, let me fly through some. That's right. Oh, let's talk about him in a minute. We're going to stop there, but let's fly by some games that just don't matter. Everybody went Tennessee except me. Nice. That's surprising. You don't believe in
I have a reason why.
Okay.
You ready for it?
Well, yeah, I wasn't going to stop, but I'm happy to stop. So go with your reason why.
Okay, yeah. Tyler Shuck's the reason why.
There you go.
Some fun little. These are cherry picked, so you can joke me.
Yeah, I was joking.
He has more 300-yard passing games than Drake Maye.
He does
this year. He has more passing yards than Jackson Dart. He has a higher QBR than Caleb Williams, C.J. Stroud, and Trevor Lawrence, who are all going to the playoffs. And he also has 68% completion percentage, and his QBR rating is 92. So he's been playing great football, mistake-free as a rookie. It makes you think, do the Saints need to get a quarterback this coming draft? I don't think that they do. With what we've seen so far, he looks really good. And they're winning games. They're putting up 30 points. Chris Olave ended the year as wide receiver 6 for fantasy. So he's a wide receiver 1 with Tyler Shuck. So he's been very productive. So I think this quarterback is the short-term, maybe long-term answer for this team.
Quarterback or coach?
Both.
A little bit of both? Okay.
Kellen Moore made Jalen Hurts an MVP candidate last year, and we've seen him this year. So I think that's a little bit of both.
All right, let me fly. New Orleans wins 34-26. Jacksonville, we all picked Jacksonville to beat Indianapolis 23-17. Stop me if you want to talk. We saw Tampa Bay lose. We all picked Tampa Bay last week, guys, and they lost to Miami. I don't want to stop there, but if y'all want to stop.
I joked about it.
You did. We all picked Cincinnati. They rolled 37-14. None of these have playoff implications. The Bucks do, but do they really? We'll talk about that in a minute. And then finally, we all picked New Orleans and Seattle unanimously, 42-10. New England beats the Jets, and Seattle beats Carolina 27-10. Now, let's stop there because with the New England win, Tim, they have now taken command of their division, so they should finish out with that. as well as Seattle looks like they may be poised. That's too tight to call still, but they beat Carolina, so they double dipped. They helped themselves potentially get that 1 seed, but they also knocked Carolina into a duel with Tampa Bay next week.
Yeah, that was a complete disgrace by the Jets as far as New England just completely put it on them. The Jets, by the way, I know we like to talk usually good stats, but here's some bad stats that might blow your mind. 0-4 in December, a negative 107-point differential, the worst in NFL history in 1 month. Negative 107 points in 1 month. That's insane. Breece Hall did rush for 1,000 yards, but enough about the Jets because nobody cares about the Jets, not even the Jets fans. New England looking great. Drake Maye, 256 yards, 5 touchdowns, and I think possibly leapfrogging Matt Stafford in the MVP race. Possibly. We could talk about that maybe in a little bit. But yeah, New England's looking good, and I forget the other one you were just referring to. Was that the Seattle game, right? Seattle. We were talking about, in the Seattle game. Seattle, again, that was a great matchup, and Seattle went in there and did what they had to. The one concerning thing, Seattle has turned the ball over 28 times this year. That's a lot of turnovers for a potential number one seeded team. Bryce Young, very inconsistent. And we've seen that throughout the year, but only, I think, 57 yards passing, which is his career worst. So, some interesting things happened this week, especially in those 2 games.
Yeah, and Stan, we were on the show. We've been really big on Sam Darnold. All he's done now is gone 13 wins consecutively 2 years back to back, yet he gets discarded from a team that clearly needed him to stay. So Sam Darnold's, we're big fans.
Yeah, me too. It was a huge mistake by Minnesota letting him go. He had 1 bad game in the playoffs. Everyone fell out of love with him. He was like the best story all season last year, and he had a bad game. And now he's doing it for Seattle. All they have to do is win, I think, right? They win next week, and they're number 1 seed. Is that right? They're in the driver's seat.
That's correct. So,
It's insane. It's insane how this division is shaping up. All right, Buffalo and I'm sorry. Did you guys have a point before I move on?
Other than I'm not an AFC guy. I'm a Lions fan, but I can just only imagine the Jets are like, we're finally done with the Brady era. The Patriots are going to fall back down to the mean, and yet they're still the Jets. And now here comes Drake Maye. I mean, it's just got to be hard. It's just got to be soul crushing.
Oh, 100%.
Anyway, that's it. That's all I wanted to say.
No, I love it.
This is kind of meaningless. As we know, the Jets, they're not a very good team right now, but we're going to be talking about coaches at some point during this offseason, if not, as the season concludes. But you look at the roster of the Jets and the guys that they're playing right now. You have a guy like Clark Jordan, who's starting at nickel. He's born in 2002 or something like that. He's just now entering the league. Not experienced. Dean Clark, starting, same. 2002, 2001, brand new to the league, never played. Malachi Moore, brand new. Quantez Stiggers, coming from the Canadian League, also very young, getting thrown into the fire. Juwan Briggs, who they picked up from the Browns, is starting. Adonai Mitchell, very young. Isaiah Williams, starting. Brady Cook, all these guys. All these dudes we probably never would know of. We could, if you said their name, you'd be like, well, I don't know. I've never heard of them in my life.
Right.
These guys are playing for the Jets, and so it's no surprise here that their results are, like Tim mentioned, allowing that many points this past month. It's ridiculous. It's not a surprise, but they're also not a team that's like, we're determined to win because they're throwing all these new guys into the fire there.
Go ahead, Stan. You had a point.
Are you advocating let's give Aaron Glenn more time because he's a defensive coach and they have no interceptions all year long, which is going to break a record from what I understand. If they don't get an interception next week.
Yeah, that's fair. Of all of their starting corners, Brandon Stevens would be the only guy that was a previous starter in any season, and he was acquired from the Baltimore Ravens, so he was not with the team. So obviously 0 interceptions is terrible, whether or not you're the New York Jets roster right now or any team, right? But I think this, at least with all the names and all the people playing right now, it advocates for Aaron Glenn to at least get another chance. Agreed. All the draft picks that they have now.
And I want to talk to you about coaches in just a couple of minutes before we get on to Week 18. But, okay, so here's devil's advocate for you, Josh. They've been drafting players for the last several years, and I think they've been hitting because a couple of defensive players they got rid of. So, I mean, they may have some people that we don't know who they are right now, but these last few years, they have been hitting the lottery in draft picks. So there's really no excuse other than the Jets stink.
No, I think it's more of allowing for their GM, Darren Moogie, who's their first-year guy, came from the Broncos as an assistant there for a while. He's a first-year GM, and he's the guy that made all these trades, acquiring these firsts. I mean, getting 2 firsts for a cornerback, I don't care who the cornerback is, that's ridiculous. The draft pick trade that he got, obviously, to the Cowboys, and then acquiring what they believe to be is their franchise number 2 receiver as a part of that. They've made good moves, and their talent right now is clearly not that of a team that's ready to win. So I think I'm not even advocating for Aaron Glenn, but I'm saying with what they're doing right now, it's worth mentioning that they're not trying to win, and they're looking forward to the future. So we should give them another shot.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. The Giants, they win 34-10 over Vegas. Vegas is decimated. No need to stop on this one. It's a battle of who cares. It's actually honestly amazing that either one of them wanted to compete when they could be getting a better draft pick. The woes in Philadelphia continue. They get the win, which is their story.
That was
but they lose.
Zero offensive yards from the Eagles in the second half.
This was painful to watch these two teams drudge it out in the weather, and it was probably more painful than the other game y'all mentioned. It's probably more. I would have rather seen Pittsburgh and Cleveland because at least with Shador, maybe he'll break out. Maybe, maybe. But you're watching the two elite teams in the NFL play terrible. Then they miss a field goal and go for 2. Are we having a problem, Tim, with coaches now just going for 2 instead of tying? What's wrong with tying the game?
I don't know. I mean, I think I would have played for, it was a missed extra point earlier. I think I would have just played for overtime. 100%. Way too aggressive there. Again, I think it does help that they already had their playoff position locked up for Buffalo, but
sure.
I don't know. A win's a win. You want to get a win in the NFL. I think that's a big loss for Buffalo, just for as far as momentum goes at this late in the season. So I think we do have a little bit of a problem, to answer your question, Dave.
Yeah, I don't know what their thought process was. They came into the season with Matt Prater starting for or to start off the season. Obviously, it wasn't their kicker going into the season, filling in for the injury that they have there. Then they had Michael Badgley, I want to say, kicking in this game, and he's the one that missed that extra point. I believe it was blocked, though. It's not like you're trotting out a guy and there's no confidence because he's just missing. It was blocked. So I don't know. Yeah. They had all the momentum, as we mentioned. At one point towards the end, I don't know if they finished with 0 offensive yards in the second half, but it was certainly less than 25. Stan said yes. So 0 in the second half. Yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't tie the game and then just go take over in overtime if that's the case.
Stan, I need you to talk to your coach and tell him that 4-down territory is not the time to go for it on 4th down.
Oh, man. Yeah, we love Coach Campbell, but sometimes he's always got to go for it. I don't know. We 2 years ago, I think in the playoffs was the most brutal. Just a couple of those 4th downs in the playoff game. I agree with everyone here real quick. I would have just kicked the extra point. You had all the momentum. They had almost no yardage in the second half, the Eagles. And they're at home. They're in Buffalo. Just kick the extra point and go get the win in overtime, but it didn't happen. So.
Yeah. A couple games that were exciting, and we close out with these because, like I said, we got a lot to cover tonight, and we're making record time here. Josh, you picked Chicago, and they had it. They had one play to complete, and they won the game. But San Francisco guys, they were absolutely rolling, 42-38. Rolling at home, man. It was pretty killer. This machine, we talk about Ayuk being, essentially done. He's done. And Debo being somewhere else. Pretty much Christian McCaffrey, because Kittle's out half the time. Somehow this team just keeps rocking and rolling, Caleb. I don't understand the formula, the magic that gets them there, through the regular season. But 42 points is an awful lot to put up against that Chicago defense.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those no defense games. There's 1 sack in the game. Brock Purdy was sacked once. Obviously, the pick 6 early from TJ Edwards, and not a fumble and not another pick other than that. So no defense being played, just points on points on points. If you had Christian McCaffrey, congrats, you got a big game for you for fantasy. And Brock Purdy, he had a great game. So he's been great the last month, really. But yeah, this is just 2 good offenses going at it, like you said. Caleb Williams, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. The run game wasn't as good as weeks past. Usually they split it down the middle, and they both are really productive. They only had 110 rushing yards in this game, so not great. But obviously you're going against Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy and all these guys. And hats off to Kyle Shanahan. His team's been a revolving door this year outside of McCaffrey. The receiving room every week is different. George Kittle's been hurt twice now. So he's up for Coach of the Year in my opinion. He's definitely one of the best guys. I know he's probably not. We could talk about it in a little bit, but he's strung together this team like he has to do every year. It feels like, and they have potential to be the best in their division next week. So hats off to him.
Stan?
Yeah. Well, first of all, great final point, Caleb. The Coach of the Year thing is going to be a tight race this year. We'll get into that. But I just wanted to say these two teams, unlike the last two teams we just talked about, the Eagles and Bills, they are not limping into the playoffs. They both seem like they're kind of kicking on all cylinders, and I'm excited to see what both these teams do. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I was going to mention one more thing. Caleb brought up the fact that they had an early, I think it was maybe the first play of the game, that pick six. They also had a pick that was called back and another opportunity for a turnover there. So it could have been one of those multiple turnover games for Brock Purdy once again. And you really didn't see the 49ers defense show up in this game. I mean, you had the early deep connection with Luther Burden, and then you had that free play, which I'm surprised they let run, but it was a deep touchdown to Colson Loveland. They weren't stopping Colson Loveland at all during this game. If you watch the broadcast, Chris Collinsworth just wouldn't stop talking about it. Like, this is the guy I'm going to go to in this situation. This is the guy I'm going to do this and that with. They go with him at the end of the game for the hook and lateral, whatever you want to call it. I don't know why there was several of those on Sundays that were attempted, or on Sunday that was attempted. But I mean, the Jaguars had it. Monday night had it as well. But I like to see the confidence there building with Colson Loveland. But this defense for the 49ers, 18 sacks this year, so almost just one a game. That's dead last in the NFL. That's going to be a problem for them when they go into the playoffs, obviously, against all the high-end defenses no Nick Bosa. Obviously, the lack of the top three inside linebackers for them there. But yeah, no real presence allowing the Bears to go out there and drop 38 points like they did.
Kib, you had a final point or no?
I'm good.
All right. Final game. What's going on with the Rams, guys? They let the Falcons beat them 27-24.
The Falcons are a good team.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Hey, y'all joked me. I came back from my little fiasco last episode, opened the camera, y'all asked me who's going to win, and y'all all told me, don't pick the Falcons again. Don't pick the Falcons. Right. I really wanted to, but I don't think they're a bad team. I think they're figuring it out. I think that they figured it out too late, obviously. But I think Kirk Cousins is vouching for a job somewhere next year. He deserves to start somewhere. He's been a competent quarterback. Probably, yeah. You would think that would be the case.
You paid for him, use him, you know? Yeah.
Stafford has been red hot the entire year. I mean, he went on a stretch where he didn't throw a pick for like 8 games or something.
Starting to get sloppy now.
Been playing great. I think it's just one game. This is a trap game. That's what you call a trap game.
Oh, I agree. So don't worry.
I agree.
Aaron Rodgers, relax. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm not worried about the Rams. They're watching a film probably right now. Like, Sean McVay's a great coach. They're not going to lull into the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right.
Can we talk about Bijan just for 1 second?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Third most yards in a season ever. That's a crazy stat. Third most yards in a season ever. And he may have just saved his coach's job, right? He may have saved Raheem Morris's job with that performance. Maybe. Because what's their final record now? What was that?
They're 7-9. 7-9. Saints, so they couldn't 7-10 or 8.
Right.
And 9.
I don't know but I know he likes his coach. I know he does like Raheem Morris. So when you got a player with that talent that's backing up the head coach, it could make things a little sticky. But my goodness, what a season for Bijan.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning that Raheem Morris was the Rams defensive coordinator when they won the Super Bowl a few years ago. So there's familiarity there. But the Rams were also playing from behind for most of the game, right? I mean, Bijan Robinson, 22 for 195 with a 93-yard rushing touchdown. Even if you take that away, 21 for 192. He had an excellent game across the board. They couldn't stop him whatsoever. And the Rams and Matthew Stafford obviously were trying to force plays all game to catch up and keep up with the lead that the Falcons had. Obviously, at the score ending a lot closer than it should have been, but the Rams were chasing for a large majority of that game.
And to be fair, they had one of their best receivers on the bench hurt. So that does change the game a little bit.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. As we always do, let's wrap up Week 17. Did I give the total? 27-24, Atlanta wins. Let's talk about this playoffs because it's not really going to change much. There's a potential for a little change, but let's talk about AFC. Broncos look like they've got the West. Patriots look like they have the East. At this point, is there any reason other than the Texans the Jaguars won't finish with the South. So that's your 1, 2, and 3. The Texans, though, are that reason, and they are currently the 5th seed there with the Chargers coming in and Bills at 6 and 7. Now, Steelers are still in the hunt, as we know, and Ravens are on the bubble officially. So if the Steelers win, and I believe they're at home. Are they at home?
Yeah, they're in Pittsburgh.
They are, yep. In
Pittsburgh. If Pittsburgh wins at home, then they are, of course, in. Now, here's where we say this every year. I can't believe it's literally the same thing every year. But that NFC South, man, you got to finish below 500 or barely 500, and you're automatically going to get in. And in this case, it's going to be the Panthers, who are currently in the hunt, with the Buccaneers being on the bubble. But one of them has to get in because of that division. Now, Seahawks currently have the first seed. The Bears have the second seed. Eagles third, 49ers fifth. Remember, it could go either way with Seahawks and 49ers, I believe. Either one could finish with the 1 seed.
Yep.
Rams and Packers are the 6 and 7 seeds. So I don't think anything's going to change. The only thing that we need to figure out is, are the Steelers or Ravens, or are the Panthers and Bucks? And ironically, both these teams are real close to 500, both sides, both the AFC and NFC representatives, and they're both fighting each other to win the divisions the only way they get in, because, to be quite frank, dude, everybody's got 13, 11, 11, 12, 11 wins other than the Packers in the NFC. And look on the AFC, 13, 13, 12, 11, 11, 11. Like, that's a lot of wins, y'all. There's been a lot of good football teams out there this year. So that's not going to change.
There's a lot of bad ones, right?
Been a lot of bad ones.
That is what that means.
Yeah, Dave, you mentioned it. Every year there's like one division that does it. Usually lately it's been the NFC South. And here we are again. That's going to be a good game. That's Saturday at 4. Essentially, that's kind of the first playoff game in a way, right? Carolina and Tampa Bay.
100%.
And here's an interesting thing about that is if Carolina loses, they are not out of it. Did you know this? If they lose, so it's not a win and take all. So if the Bucks lose, they are out. But if Carolina loses and the Falcons win, the Carolina still makes it in. It's like this weird, because it would be a 3-way tie. Yeah.
In that scenario, they would all be 8 and 9. So under 500, and they take it as the same record.
So Carolina has a better chance.
We call that trash.
Yeah, exactly.
Did the Giants win a Super Bowl doing that? Or am I wrong?
Of course they did. Come on. Probably a couple times.
Are they the only ones to do that?
Second one, right? I don't know.
We're going to play a little game tonight, because we said early in the year, we talked about head coaches that would or would not be around at the end of the year, and we were right about a couple, but I'm just going to throw some names at you. Obviously, we know Tennessee and the Giants have moved on from their head coaches, so those are the only 2 fired in season, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw a name at you, and if you want to, somebody has to, but not everybody if you don't want to. You just got to tell me if you think that they are officially on the hot seat, or should they feel the heat? Let's talk about Pete Carroll.
Yes, he's definitely on the hot seat. I think
I agree.
That team's a disaster. I think they need to blow it up. They'll have the number 1 pick. And yes, I think he's definitely on the hot seat. I think it was a one and done.
Anybody agree, disagree?
Yeah, I think it's his first year. Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah.
Sorry.
First year.
Yeah, I think that it'd be a mistake to let him pick his guy at number 1 if he's not the long-term answer. I mean, he's in his 70s, right? He's the oldest coach in the league. I mean, sorry, you have to retire at some point.
Yeah.
So, I just don't think him getting the first overall pick and getting his guy makes the most sense long-term.
So
yeah, it's worth mentioning. Ian Rappaport said that it's doubtful Pete Carroll will be back with the Raiders in 2026. That was yesterday. So, I mean, one and done, that if you're the number 1 pick, that gives you the opportunity to get your young coach in and then get his guy and then start there. So, like Caleb saying, if they believe it's going to be Pete Carroll, which apparently it's doubtful according to the NFL sources, then they're committing to him for the contract of that rookie they're drafting.
Yeah. Go ahead, Stan.
You guys have convinced me. Typically, I'm not a fan of giving a coach 1 year, but when you factor in his age, I mean, he is the oldest coach. You guys have kind of convinced me. I could see him being on the hot seat for sure.
I think he had the year to prove that if they could contend, then they would commit to him. But being the worst team in the NFL and having all these veteran contracts, they could drop. They could drop everything right now and have a fresh start completely.
Right.
All right. Despite winning Coach of the Year honors, a pattern of inconsistent seasons, I think, puts Kevin Stefanski on the hot seat. Agree or disagree?
Hot seat, or is he getting fired? What's the question?
But,
I agree with the hot seat.
Technically, everyone should be on the hot seat unless you're in these top 5 teams. But I think that
is his job is in question
like
as the team looks to rebuild. That's the question.
No, I don't think so. I mean, he hasn't had a consistent offensive play at all. They've still gone through the Browns' generational curse of quarterbacks. How many did they start this year? 3 or 4?
Well, they traded Baker. Shame on them.
They're cursed. And that's GM stuff. They've had 3 GMs with Stefanski, I think. So it hasn't been great.
So consensus.
They're one of the best defenses in the league still. They're in most games. I don't think they've been blown out this year other than once or twice, which is surprising. I don't think so. I think he stays.
Anybody think he's on the hot seat? Give me a thumbs up. Nope.
I agree. But I think I do like Kevin Stefanski. I think it's been a difficult situation that he's been handed, obviously. I mean, we all remember the trade that happened when they traded for Deshaun Watson. Obviously, he led the league in the NFL, sat out. They trade all these picks. The NFL gives them the okay. Then the NFL, a week later, immediately gives him the boot, and he gets suspended and all this other thing. So they end up wasting a year. He gets injured. They waste his second year. He starts again. 3 years down the line, they have wasted on injury and holdout and suspension. So obviously that's not his fault, but he acquired that. But it's hard for anyone to go 3 and whatever they went last year, 3 and 14, and to go 4 and 12 right now, probably 4 and 13, and to hold a job. So I think it's hard to defend him after 5 years, or he just had 100 coached game for the Browns. So it's hard to defend after all this time. His best season has come with Joe Flacco. They haven't had anyone to support and be behind at the quarterback position, and you can point to him, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, you bring up good context, Josh. Some of that is just the Browns being the Browns. I do feel a little bit bad for Coach Stefanski because some of that stuff's out of his control.
Yeah.
But you bring up good context. I mean, that's true. They got a great defense, great defensive players, and they're still just not doing great. So,
I always say, you've heard me say it 1,000 times on the show, is, especially when they're talking about, like, get rid of Dak, he's the problem, and all this mess they've said in the past. Who better? When you show me a better option, then I start listening. But who's going to come in there and do his job? All right, let's go out west. Jonathan Gannon. He's had 3 years now, hasn't he? 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I think he's safe. I actually kind of liked some things of what I saw from Arizona this year. I did. I liked what he did with Jacoby Brissett. Wasn't even supposed to be his starting quarterback.
No.
And I thought they fought in some games this year that I thought they would have laid down. I don't think that team quit on him. Are there better options? Probably, but is Arizona gonna? I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's back.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a wait and see year or two coming up for them because Kyler Murray, is he out? Is he going to stay? Seems like he's going to be out, but their offense looks good when it's healthy. Marvin Harrison's been out. James Conner got out week 2 or 3 with that knee injury. So they've been banged up. They had the best tight end performance of all time this year, reception-wise. Trey McBride has the NFL record for that this year with Jacoby Brissett. So I think there's some good things. Their defense has been
moving
good.
on from Murray. They appear to be
moving on from Kyler. Yeah, that's what I was following up with. But I don't know. I think they look good enough, like Tim was saying. I don't think I think he's on the hot seat for sure. But who's going to replace him, like you said?
Let me say I'm going to move on just so we can keep. I got a few more, then I'll open it up. But I think the Falcons move on for a couple of reasons. One, I think they struck out, and Pitts was supposed to be this blockbuster deal, and he wasn't. Bijan is clearly one of the best football players in the league. Michael Penix is a bust. I've said it all year. I'll keep saying it. He is not going to. He's like a He's like a Mariota type to me. Like he's just not the guy who's going to carry your franchise. And I think they really dropped the ball with Kirk Cousins, the sign and draft thing. I think by and large their owner said it best when he said that they need to look at every aspect of this team and this franchise, and it falls on him. He's right. So I think they move on because I think they need to solidify the quarterback position, build around Bijan, and figure out an identity. And they don't have one. They just don't have one. So I think he's gone. What are your thoughts?
I will say something again, I guess. I think that he stays. I think that some years we see a lot of coaches go. Some years we don't see but 1 or 2, and we've already seen 2.
Right.
So I don't think there's a lot of movement this year. That's just my opinion. But Raheem Morris, he's a fine coach. I mean, they have a chance of being 8-9 in that division that is all 8-9. So they were in contention for their division. Their team at times looked great. They beat the Bills early. They beat some teams they weren't supposed to, like the Rams in prime time. Kirk Cousins' primetime curse is gone. He's won, I think, 3 primetime games this year with them, which he hasn't won any before that, I think.
Primetime Kirk.
I think he's stable. They can build around him. Drake London's been hurt. They've had injuries on the defense, especially. Their defense is so young. I think they have one of the youngest defenses in the league. I think 6 of their starters are rookies this year, if I'm not wrong. Both their edge rushers, both their safeties, etc. But I don't think it's time to move on yet. I think they're in contention for their division, and I think they look fine.
Okay.
I lagged out for a moment there, so I might have missed some points. But Raheem Morris, he was a head coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a few years in the late or mid-2000s. I don't know how you'd say that at this point, but I think 2009 to 2011, he was the head coach there. He was previously an interim head coach for the Falcons, and so they like him. He's been there for a long time, other than the small stint with the Rams. He went actually from the Falcons from 2015 to 2020 with the Rams for the Super Bowl year and the year prior, and then he's back with the Falcons. So he's been there for a very long time. And then, as you mentioned, they've just committed a lot to the young players that they have. Michael Penix coming into the NFL. He had a torn ACL in 2018. He had a joint injury in his non-throwing shoulder. He retore his ACL. He has another ACL injury this year, obviously. Then his fractured clavicle, fractured AC joint again, another season. So he's been hurt several times, and you drafted him knowing that as an older prospect. They also committed their first this upcoming year to the Rams for James Pierce so that they could have those 2 first-round edge rushers. James Pierce worked out well. We'll see how Jalen Walker does. But to be able to pivot from Michael Penix, if he's not your guy, you don't have an option at this point in time unless you're going to circle back to Kirk Cousins, which would, I don't know how the team would feel about that. We've seen teams do this and kind of rotate back and forth, and then the coach ultimately gets fired. So he's going to have to stand strong, I believe, on Michael Penix with what they drafted him, knowing that he had, which is an injury history.
Gotcha. All right. I just got 2 quick ones, and then we'll open it up for you guys. I think one's a home run and one's a stretch. But Mike McDaniel, Dolphins, are they moving on? Tim?
Yes.
I do not know how this guy survived the year, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think they absolutely need to
6
survive.
wins,
I don't
that's
think
how,
he's Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's the worst coach in the world, but I think his mojo has run out. I think it was funny and cute at first. Like, this guy says whatever he's thinking. He has no filter. This is great. Yeah, he's quirky, whatever. And it's not working. I think they actually need to blow it up in Miami, to be honest with you, because that team is nowhere near. You look at how quickly you can rebuild. Look at what New England did. Like they're not that far off, but it does take a rebuild. I don't think they're just a player or 2 away. I think they need to blow it up. Reword that. They are far off, but it doesn't take as long as you might. It's not like a 5-year process.
A couple years ago, they were tanking for Tua, and now Stan looks like they're done with Tua.
Yeah.
Mind you, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I think he's not getting the most out of his players.
No.
I mean, like Tim just hinted, they're 7-9. I mean, they're not that bad. I think the coach is holding them back a little bit. He's not getting the most out of his players. They get another coach in there, a culture changer, and that team could see a little bump. I mean, maybe even a bye for the playoffs. So, I think he should probably go.
Caleb. I agree.
Yeah, I don't think it matters who they have as a coach. I think the Dolphins' ownership is lacking here. They said week 3 that if they're not having a winning record by week 7 or 8 before their bye week, that he would be fired. They didn't fire him. So that's what their problem there. I think it's the ownership. I don't think it matters. Dan Marino is the only thing, other than Shula in that season, the only thing that this team's had pretty much.
Yeah.
Long time ago. 50 years of
longer than
that,
the Cowboys.
and then 30 years since Marino. Yeah.
Well,
so
what's the old saying? Like the players in Miami, there's just too many distractions in Miami. Like they go to Miami and like that's this it never quite works out. Tyreek Hill, everybody. So
tax benefits, you're in vacation town.
Yes.
I'm just unsure,
but their ownership is my problem.
All right, we'll just
I'm
wrap it up.
unsure
Go ahead, Josh.
what there is to rally behind with this team. I mean, they have an interim GM. They had a GM that was there for eternity for no reason.
Hold them ransom.
He was there. They had several different head coaches, and he just remained. So they have an interim head coach called Champ Kelly, whoever that guy is. But you can't get behind any of these coaches. I mean, Mike McDaniel, who knows? They're OC, DC, or special teams guys. Nobody knows. There's just no identity here. They're not, like Stan mentioned, they're not getting the best out of their players. It's evident. I mean, you lose Tyreek Hill and your team gets better. That makes no sense. Yeah. Jalen Waddle does nothing and gets hurt, and you win a game. Like, right. I don't know what's happening. It's just. They very clearly have an identity crisis. They're starting Quinn Ewers, making Tua sit behind Zach Wilson even. It's clearly a problem. Everyone sees it. That's why Tim was laughing when you mentioned it, because it's evident. It's evident to us. It's evident to everybody that Mike McDaniel should be gone, despite their recent winning that they've had.
Now the last one that we got to move on. We'll get on to week 18, and we'll talk. Well, I got another quick question before that, but this one's a stretch. But hear me out, okay? Every year we complain because this coach gets to the playoffs and fizzles out quickly. Every year we complain because his team is mediocre. He gets the wrong defensive players out there and they get burned. He has no ability to get wide receivers in town. Back when they had a number one, their number two was as good as their number one, and they let them both walk, only bring the number two back. I'm talking about Sean McDermott. They are, I've said this many times on the show, Stan, it's Dan Marino reincarnated. Because Dan Marino never had a 1,000-yard rusher, never had, a top 10 defense, never had all-pro wide receivers. He had Duper and Clayton for a minute, but he made them who they were. And here we are, Dan Marino 2.0 and Josh Allen. And I'm sorry, his cape is frayed already. It's been frayed every time he got into playoff games with Mahomes. This is the season they should have been crushing everyone because Mahomes is out. Jackson is out. Where's your kryptonite? Looks like Drake Maye might be their kryptonite.
You make some solid points. I've definitely heard the Dan Marino and even John Elway, comparisons to Josh Allen. But Dan Marino I like even better because he's doing it all himself, right? And he's always been doing it. It's brutal. I kind of feel bad for him. I don't know that. How long has he been the coach here? Anyone have that number? How many years he's been the coach in Buffalo?
He got hired after the Panthers-Broncos Super Bowl.
Yeah. So it's been a minute. It's been a hot minute.
Yeah. He was the Panthers guy.
Well, let me just put it this way. I want to see what they do in the playoffs this year. And then if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, if they got to make it to the Super Bowl, then maybe he stays. If they flame out early, then I would agree with you, Dave. Absolutely.
I have a point.
Okay.
I think he's on the hot seat. Personally, I think he should be fired because when you look back, yes, Josh Allen's great. A couple years ago, they had the best defense in the league in that overtime game against the Chiefs, and they choked. That's coaching. They have a 1,000-yard rusher with James Cook the last 2 years. They can't get a passing game around him to help out balance that offense. That's coaching. That's GM work. Their GMs have always been bad. They can't draft talent to help Josh Allen outside of James Cook. I know they have good offensive players here and there, but in my opinion, he's Jason Garrett. Same guy. The team rallies around him sometimes, but when it really matters, if you need to go to the playoff, if it's week one, if it's a big game, he's not going to show up for you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Stan.
All right. So everyone's saying this is the year. We have no Chiefs and Mahomes. We have no Joe Burrow and no Lamar Jackson. So I agree with everything you guys are saying. Buffalo needs to make the Super Bowl. I don't know about win it, but they need to make the Super Bowl.
They need to have hope.
My question to you guys, if Buffalo makes the Super Bowl, is his job safe? Or does he have to win it?
Here's the problem. Like, even though I always say, you have to have somebody in line, you have to have a better option. How long can you take mediocrity? Like Jason Garrett's a great analogy. Like, we were winning 12 and 13 games every year with Garrett. We were a top 5 offense every year and a top 10 or 5 defense every year, but we weren't getting it done in the playoffs. How long?
Right.
How long?
Right.
Go ahead, Josh.
Right.
I also wonder, if Buffalo takes a wait and see approach as far as what, we've talked in the last few weeks about Mike Tomlin. Could he be available? John Harbaugh, could he be available? Some of these guys, some of these big name guys, could there be changes this year? And do they make the change depending on who's available? Like if you're Buffalo and you have a chance to keep McDermott or switch to Tomlin, do you make that pivot? Who knows?
Yeah, because both of those guys understand, and let's give credit where it's due. I mean, Tomlin has had Roethlisberger and nobody else, but he understands the game of football, and so does the other one. All right, Josh, bring us home. Then we're going to move on.
Yeah, I was going to mention a couple of things that you guys already mentioned. Tim asked if Stan asked if his job is safe if he makes the Super Bowl. I think he's safe regardless this year.
Gotcha.
I think just making it, obviously, The Patriots, where they have 13 wins, they're probably going to have 14. The games they lost were, the Raiders, the Steelers, games that they should have won early in the season that they probably would win right now. So they've had a great season, an easier schedule. So I don't think you can point that towards the Bills as a reason for them not winning the division or whatever you want to say. They have not looked great. I don't know what Sean McDermott's identity is. Caleb brought up their defense a few years ago. They had Leslie Frazier, who we know was a head coach at one point in time, as their defensive coordinator, calling their defense. They had a great defense. Now they don't have a great defense as soon as he left. And I don't know why. They have good talent. They have, Greg Rousseau. I know Joey Bosa's in and out, but Terrell Bernard, Christian Benford, Jordan Poyer, and not in his prime anymore, but Dorian Williams, Matt Milano, they have all these dudes, and you're supposed to be a defensive-minded head coach who carried this Panthers team into the Super Bowl with that defense. And where's your identity? Because your defense is terrible, despite the names and the talent. So I don't know what their identity is. If you point to Sean McDermott and ask what he does, I don't know. Defense is bad. His quarterback carries him, and the offensive scheme only goes to the running game. So I don't know what his identity is, because he allows for everyone around him to do their thing, and he's just the guy that's a part of it. So I don't know.
All right, last question. We're going to jump into 18. Coach of the year. I'll give you my piece, and then I'll get everyone's feedback real quick. Here's my thing. There's a couple coaches, I think there's 3 of them, that have taken over a team and turned them around. So in my mind, when you have coaches like that are coming in, like Vrabel, for example. Vrabel come in and took a team that wasn't winning, and all of a sudden they are literally the best in football. You could argue, that Coach Payton has done it in Denver, because they were good last year, but they're much better this year on paper. Or Ben Johnson, when have the Bears been this good, or at least had this kind of record? So here's my point. Before you go giving it to Shanahan, guys, we know he's been a good coach for 20 years. Before you go giving it to those guys, let's talk about people that look like they turned a dumpster fire into gold in 1 or 2 seasons. Those are the guys, in my opinion, that we should be talking about. Now, that said, whoever you think, I'll honor it, but I'm going Vrabel. Vrabel's coach of the year for me.
Wow. Tough race. Honestly, I'm super excited to see who wins the award this year, because there's so many good coaches this year that turn things around. I tend to agree with you, Dave. For me, it's either going to be Ben Johnson or Vrabel, because the way they turn those teams around. I know everyone's talking about Shanahan in the media, so maybe he's got the inner track. But if it was me voting, I like Vrabel or Ben Johnson. I could go either way. So
same.
Yeah.
I like Liam Cohen. I like him with the Jags. He's a 4-win team, similar type of thing. But I have to say, I know you guys aren't big Shanahan fans, but I have to say he might have the most impressive coaching performance from getting the most out of what he has had to endure this year. It wasn't a turnaround. It wasn't, if it was the most improved team coach, then it's Cohen or Vrabel or Johnson. But I'm between Cohen and Shanahan.
Gotcha.
Yeah, just the odds right now, they mean nothing. Right. But the top 3 are Vrabel, Shanahan, and Mike McDonald as your top 3 favorites right now. I don't think Kyle Shanahan, while he sustained the offense that he has, their defense has been non-existent, and they've done well. And obviously their division is very difficult. And they're competing, and they have a chance to win that division as well. But I think Mike Vrabel with the turnaround, I think that speaks more to the guys that have won in recent history. Kevin O'Connell flipping the team around to a 14-win team last year. Got him it. Kevin Stefanski, similar thing with Joe Flacco the previous year. It's they like these guys that turn it around. It doesn't have to necessarily be first-year head coaches, but the first-year head coaches are always in that discussion. And I guess Mike Vrabel would also be a candidate as a first-year guy, despite this being his second team. So he kind of has 2 things going for him that they like to vote for.
Go ahead, Cam.
Yeah, I really like Vrabel, but I think Liam Cohen gets it. Because you talk about a guy who literally flips a team around. I looked it up. Last year, their points per game were 18, and they allowed their opponents 25. This year, it's 27-20, so literally flipped it. Touchdowns, same thing. They allowed 35, or they had 35, allowed 50. Now they have 50, allowed 38. So they flipped the whole offensive scheme and defensive scheme and what they do for points allowed, yards allowed. It's basically all the way down the line. You could see Yeah. It's literally black and white. The whole team's flipped. And I think that's because of him, what he brings there with the culture he had with the Bucs and what he's had in the past in college.
Yeah, it's a scary thing to think, but, if he'd had his way, he basically, and I respect this about Vrabel, he quit on Tennessee. He quit. He bailed. He could have had Brown, he could have had Henry, and he could have had Malik. Those are three ballers. He could have had a heck of a team, but that franchise let him go. So he says, you know what, I'm out. I agree. I think Liam McDonald in Seattle and Vrabel, in my mind, just because they've turned franchises around like that, deserve it.
Jaguars, man.
Yeah. All right, last
They're
question.
All amazing.
Yeah, they're all amazing. Those 5 guys should be coached there. You should give it to 5 of them.
Right. Yeah.
MVP. Any? We won't spend time here. Anybody have an idea for MVP? Drake. How are you feeling?
Is Drake a rookie or is it year 2?
Year 2.
Rookie.
But my only concern...
no, rookie year 2. Year 2, sorry.
Year 2. Drake hasn't played anybody, guys. He hasn't had to win a single good game. We talked about 2 weeks ago. And I love the kid. I love the whole franchise. Finally.
Other than Drake and Stafford, what other candidates do we have other than Drake and Stafford? McCaffrey.
Okay.
They give it to quarterbacks. And they only give it to quarterbacks that win in the playoffs. It's rigged.
What about Bo Nix?
I mean...
Yeah, I think right now the top 3 for odds is Stafford, May, and Lawrence, the way that he's played. That's their current odds.
That'd be nice.
With my vote, if I'm taking your vote, and then we'll move on. I'm going with Drake Maye for those 3. If it's those 3, who you voting on, Caleb?
Stafford, he's going to light it up this week.
Tim?
Stafford, yep.
Stan, you got Stafford?
Stafford. Yeah.
Stafford, he's going to have 4,700 yards, 45 touchdowns, and less than 10 picks if he doesn't have a 2 to 3 pick game. So, yeah, statistically, he's matches up well.
All right, I've got my highlighter. That means I'm going to get y'all's picks here. We're going to fly through Week 18. Final week, guys. Final week of the regular season, and then we get to talk about playoffs. Playoffs, that's what we get to talk about.
Playoffs.
All right, Saturday games. Stan already talked about it. Carolina, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's 3.5-point favorites. I can't for the life of me go against my boy Baker. He's got to win one. They've lost like 7 in a row, I feel like. 3.5-point favorites. Anybody taking Carolina?
I'll do it. I don't think that they're going to have back-to-back games that they looked at terrible. I think that the Bucs' offensive line is exposable, and the D-line that the Panthers have is hungry. Nick Scorton, the rookie, has been very good. Derek Brown's been getting to the quarterback a lot the past few weeks. And the Bucs just look kind of off. Their offense looks weird. I know they're all healthy now. They just don't look good. I don't know what it is. They just look off. So I think the Panthers, they know what they're playing for, and they're going to come out swinging.
Everyone else is going Tampa Bay still at home, 3.5?
I'm going to go Tampa out of desperation. And they're at home.
All right, here's a tough one, guys. Seattle is in San Fran. San Fran's a 1.5. I'll tell you what my pick first, since I'm going first all of a sudden. And I know Caleb likes to go last, so he can be the lone wolf. I like Seattle. I think their defense is better than the 49ers defense. Both of their offense are explosive. And I think if it comes down to a game like last week where they just want to go tit for tat with scoring, Seattle has the advantage because their defense can actually stop people. So I'm going with Seattle on the road, underdogs. Boom. Anybody taking San Fran? Everybody?
I'm taking San Fran.
Okay.
I like San Fran in this. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I just want to say I love this game. It's not a do or die playoff game, but it's a number 1 overall seed or a lowly wild card, right?
That's right.
And I love the dynamics of that game, so I can't wait to watch it Saturday night. But I'm gonna give the edge to San Francisco.
Josh, Caleb?
I will go Seattle because, like we talked about earlier, Josh brought it up. The 49ers edge rush presence is not there. And Sam Darnold, when he's not pressured, is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, as we've seen in the last 2 years. And I just don't see the weapons that the 49ers have if George Kittle's out. That's one thing.
That's
but
true.
Ricky Pearsall is not consistent enough for me to be excited. I know McCaffrey's going to have big plays. He's probably going to have 200 scrimmage yards. And, I mean, it's a coin flip with the divisional game. But I feel like the Seahawks have a way better defense, and their weapons are well-rounded. Kenneth Walker's getting hot when he should be.
Josh?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Seahawks as well. The names that are already injured, George Kittle, but Trent Williams left in that game with a hamstring injury. It's going to be problematic for Brock Purdy, who's already prone to big games with high turnover totals rather. Caleb mentioned the lack of the edge presence for San Francisco. They're playing in Seattle's house. Seattle, their offensive line's back and healthy outside of Charles Cross, I want to say, who could still play in this game. I just think the Seahawks match up better. Diamador Lenore is a great corner for the 49ers, but I don't think he's going to be able to 100% take away from JSN. I know, just thinking about this, I forgot that Torrey Horton was even an NFL player because he's been out for the last 2 months, I want to say. It's very evident that the Seahawks are missing a number 2 receiver like that. I know they got Shaheed, but he's injured now as well. So they're really missing a number 2 option on that team, and that could be their downfall going into the end of the season here. Because you really, if A.J. Barner isn't doing something and the run game isn't having these big chunk plays from Walker and Charbonnet, then you really see that lack of explosive plays from the Seattle offense.
All right, moving down the road, Cincinnati's favored 7.5 at home against Cleveland. Anybody taking Cleveland in this? Laughable, right?
No.
All right. All right, here's another one. Atlanta favored at home, 2.5-point favorite over New Orleans. Anybody taking the Saints?
Caleb's chance.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Falcons because they don't like the Bucks. I think that the Panthers aren't gonna go anywhere in the playoffs. Probably the Bucks could catch on if they make the playoffs. I think just strategically, it's better to do that.
I have to agree. With that.
That was my point exactly. It's a grudge match, and they're going to play harder than ever. And Kirk Cousins is starting. So, Josh, are you also going to Atlanta? Are we full house on this one?
Nah.
Oh.
I feel like every year the Falcons just get beat up week 18. I remember Arthur Smith cussing out whoever it was, Saints, the last time because they just destroyed them. Yeah. I like Shuck. I like what they're doing right now. I do like the Falcons secondary though. I think that if there's any game for Shuck as a rookie quarterback to have a terrible game, it's against what the Falcons were able to do last week. If they roll through what they did with Matthew Stafford, certainly they could shut down Shuck and it wouldn't be a shocker.
Okay, let me ask you guys this: why in the world is Minnesota favored by 6.5 points at home against Green Bay?
Because both Jordan Love and Malik Willis will most likely be sitting out.
Yeah, they're locked into the 7th seed, the final, right? They're locked in?
Yeah, they're locked into 7th seed. So
Tough
Packers are going to heal. Yep, so I probably would go Minnesota at home, playing for pride. Yeah.
I don't know.
And by the way,
crazy.
That entire division, Stan, I'm so sorry to say this to you as a Lions fan, but that entire division, very rarely does this happen in 1 year, completely flipped. Last year it was the Lions in first, and then and so on. It's completely reversed.
Well, let me jump in here. Selfishly, I'm rooting for Minnesota, and I'm hoping. I know Coach Campbell won't sit on everybody, but I'm hoping the Lions lose, get the better draft pick, get the better schedule next year, the favorable schedules. But so we'll see.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's crazy that if Dallas beat the Packers, this game really matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah,
because that tie puts them over everybody.
Yeah.
All right. So anyone taking Green Bay?
Yeah.
What were we gonna say, Tim?
No, I was gonna say if you remember the end of that game, Jordan Love got that play off with 1 second left, but they were 1 second away from blowing that game. They would have lost. Yeah. So.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Nobody's taking Green Bay.
No.
Okay.
Now I'm picking Minnesota.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's only the second game we're all together on. That's rare. You can know it's the end of the year. Okay. Dallas is favored to beat the Giants in New York. Anyone taking Dallas the underdog? They are starting their starters.
Dak said he's playing.
100%.
Dallas is the underdog?
They are currently. No, I'm sorry. Dallas is favored on the road. Sorry. So
Okay.
is anyone taking the Giants?
I want Dallas. I'm taking Dallas.
Same Dallas.
Another unanimous. This is looking good, guys. Okay.
This gives Schottenheimer his positive record in his first year. So
Yeah, exactly.
everybody's starting. It's going to happen.
Okay.
Giants looking for a draft pick.
Hey, Jacksonville's favored 10.5 versus Tennessee. No surprise, but are they starting their people? They still have something to play for, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, they still have to
do.
play. If the Texans win,
Okay, so we're going with
Need to
Houston. Anyone going with Tennessee?
No. I do have a point about first overall quarterbacks, though.
Yeah.
How many quarterbacks drafted first overall do y'all think have had double-digit wins in their first year?
Just a couple, maybe. Didn't Stroud do it?
He was second overall pick. Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck. He had 11 wins.
Wow.
And it's because the Colts team was really good, but the year before, obviously, they had no Peyton Manning the entire year,
so
and they had the chance to get Andrew Luck, so their team was good. He's the only one. The next best would be Baker Mayfield with 7, Sam Bradford with 7, James Winston and Cam Newton with 6. So we shouldn't be shocked when a first overall quarterback on a terrible team is doing terribly, at least record-wise. So, yes, I'm not picking the Titans.
Yeah, Jacksonville's going to be playing really hard because the 2 games that are going to matter to them play later in the day. They're the 4 o'clock games. So they're going to be playing everybody to get that win.
Okay. There's a couple back-to-back that I think are no-brainers, so I don't want to spend a lot of time. Houston's favored 10.5 against the Colts. Buffalo's favored 11.5 against the Jets. You going with one of these underdogs, Caleb?
I think that the Colts game's contingent on if Jacksonville wins. If Jacksonville wins, Texans might bench Stroud because it doesn't matter.
They're both 1 o'clock games. Both 1 o'clock games.
The Colts are benching their guys, I think, because they're already out.
Okay, so Houston. So we're probably all going Houston.
Sense. Yes, I'll take Houston.
Yeah, we're going Houston.
Well, it might just be backup game because the Jaguars clinch with the win.
But aren't they both at 1 o'clock?
They're both at 1 o'clock.
My thing says they're both at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, they're both at 1.
Yeah, so they don't get to wait and see in Houston. They got to go.
Yeah, so they're going to try to win. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
First half Texans, at least.
Yeah.
And
Buffalo should destroy the Jets.
Yeah,
anyone should destroy the Jets.
What was that number? Tim, do you still have that number? What was the total?
He said anyone should.
Oh
if you're at home with Josh Allen.
107-point differential, worst in NFL history.
Differential.
Point differential. Insane.
Y'all,
Buffalo can get up to the 5 seed, so
month?
I do think Buffalo's going to play. They're going to play. They can get up to the 5 seed, so.
Y'all, do you realize that that's a lot? Yeah. Okay, Chicago's at home, 2.5-point favorites over Detroit. Anybody taking Detroit? They need to lose and get a better place in the draft.
So let me go ahead and jump in here. Yes, we need to lose, better draft pick and a better strength of schedule for next year in the early rounds. But is that Coach Campbell's way? Probably not. So I mean, we're gonna have to see what happens. Is there anything on the line for Chicago? They're either 2 or 3, right? 2 or 3, I think, are the only 2 spots they can land. So not much. I'm still taking. I'm taking Chicago. Taking Chicago on this one.
Yeah, I think a Tyson Bagent Bowl is better than who's the Lions backup?
Oh my God,
Kyle.
Kyle Allen.
Yeah.
So Tyson Bagent over Kyle Allen. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
he's great, by the way, guys. He's one of my favorite.
Tyson.
Yeah,
he's a beast.
He's a beast. All right, another one. I don't think the Chargers are even trying to do anything in terms of leverage. I think they're sitting everyone.
Herbert's out already.
They're sitting everybody.
So Denver's 7.5-point favorites. They'll win by.
But Denver's already 1 seed, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they clinched by.
No, because the Patriots.
They're currently 1 seed.
But they have to win in the. Yeah, and the New England plays at the same time slot, the 4 o'clock time slot. So both those teams are going to be playing.
Right. They currently
Sean
have
Payton's going to have
the
gas pedal on. So
Broncos.
Well, most good coaches know this time of year. If you're in the playoffs, you gotta play. Like Sean McVay said it. Like we plan on playing. Like we gotta play. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how to pick this one. This is my who gives a crap or who cares or whatever you want to say of the week. Kansas City's 6.5-point favorites. Think about that. I don't know who's playing quarterback for them, and they're a 6.5-point favorite over Vegas.
Oladokin.
Yeah, exactly. How are you 6.5-point favorites on the road without Mahomes? That's how bad the Raiders are, guys.
That's how bad the Raiders are, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think they're just assuming that the Raiders are going to continue to lose out for that pick.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's true. Yep, you're right. I think Josh just nailed it. I think he's absolutely right.
All right, so I'm going KC by default.
The toilet bowl. It doesn't matter.
I'll take Kansas City too.
Anyone going Raiders?
No.
Okay.
Unless
someone always messes it up
on and try to mess it up so that the Giants get the first overall pick.
Because the Giants won anyways, they're a game ahead. So does it matter?
Yeah, they beat them. So yeah,
because
it
doesn't matter.
I don't know how it works because the Jets and the Titans and the Cardinals all have 3 wins.
Well, the Titans. Well, if the Titans lose and the Raiders win, the Raiders go down to the 4th pick.
They ain't winning, bro.
It does matter.
They gotta lose.
So the Raiders need to lose to be the 2nd pick overall.
Yeah. All right, here's 3
Raiders
games.
Are first right now.
I'm blasting you with 3 games. All home teams, all favored by 7.5 or more. Rams are favored by 8.5 over Arizona. I think we all pick Rams.
Yeah, I'll take Rams.
I like the Rams, but
don't do it.
It's divisional.
Don't do it.
The Cardinals have beat some good teams.
Oh,
they have.
I don't think McVay's going to have two back-to-back bad games, but if the Rams fall into a slump here,
they're not, bro.
I would not be surprised if the Cardinals pull out.
I'll make a note. Caleb won't be surprised if the Cardinals win, but I'm putting you down for the Rams because you have more common sense than that.
Yeah,
New England's favored by 10.5 over Miami.
1,000,000% New England. Yes.
Oh yeah,
they need that
for the number 1 overall seed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We might have Zach Wilson out there.
Two more games for you. Philadelphia is favored by 7.5 for Washington. Should be a no-brainer.
They already clinched division, right?
Yes.
They can't move. They can move up spots still.
They can move up to the 2 seed. Yeah.
They can go 2 or 3.
So they're playing.
Okay. Yeah.
And then finally, Baltimore is favored on the road in Pittsburgh by 3.5 with a backup quarterback.
What a great way to end the final week of the year, too. A playoff game, essentially. Yeah. Unfortunately, I feel bad because Tomlin's got like a playoff streak, doesn't he? He has a playoff streak going on right now. Like it's like how many years he's made the playoffs? I think it's going to get broken. I'm going to take Baltimore. I know it's tough, but I think they're gonna get in the final 2 weeks, all because of DK Metcalf getting suspended, and then Pittsburgh playing really safe, trying not to get sacked by Myles Garrett, and all this goofiness. Right, all this goofiness. I think it's going to cost them a playoff spot. So that's just me.
Okay, Caleb.
I am going Steelers. Okay. I think same game plan as last week. And I'm sorry, Tim, but I think the Steelers' run game right now might be a little bit better. Aaron Rodgers checking down the game well. The Ravens linebackers are not good. I think that's the most exploitable secondary and linebacker. It might be one of the most exploitable defenses in the league. And I think Aaron Rodgers is the guy to pick apart a team with someone like Ben Skoranek and washed up Adam Thielen and Kenneth Gainwell and a bunch of nobodies. It's this ragtag team. I think it's going to be run heavy on both sides. I think it's going to be classic. It's going to be a classic defensive game. I think the Steelers linebackers are comparable to the Packers linebackers who just got eviscerated by Derrick Henry. But I think that I think it's going to be a different tune this time. I think the Steelers win.
Josh?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, Tim, you got it.
Okay. Well, I want Pittsburgh. I want Pittsburgh very, very badly for many reasons. I think Baltimore, and the biggest X factor, of course, to me is Derrick Henry. I don't think there's anybody that steps on the field that has the impact that Derrick Henry has. I watched both teams' games last week. Unfortunately, when the Baltimore game versus Packers, Pittsburgh is just missing way too much with Metcalf, Calvin Austin, Darnell Washington. Like they're just missing way too much, and Derrick Henry is too much of a beast. I'm not happy about it, but I'm going Baltimore.
And before Josh jumps in here, I just want to say I'm with Tim. I'm rooting for Pittsburgh. I want Pittsburgh to win, but I'm picking Baltimore. But I am rooting for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Josh, Lone Ranger, buddy. Your last one. Oh, by the way, I'm going Pittsburgh. But
okay. I think y'all mentioned obviously Derrick Henry. I think the Steelers, the best part of their defense has been the run defense of previous weeks. I think Dylan Sampson only had 20-something yards. It's Dylan Sampson, okay. But we saw what the Lions did against them. I think Jahmyr Gibbs went 7 for 2. David Montgomery had less than 20 yards. They did a great job there. And so they know who they have to play against. They know who they have to stop in this game, especially if Tyler Huntley is starting in this game. We've mentioned it a couple times the last few weeks, but the Baltimore Ravens against the Pittsburgh Steelers since 2020 have won only 2 games. Obviously, they play twice a year, so that's 10 times. This will be the 10th game, and they've only won 2 of those games, the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers has also never lost to the Baltimore Ravens in his life, other than 2005, he was not the starter. He was thrown into the game in December. So he has not lost as a starter against the Baltimore Ravens. Doesn't matter at this point. I know he's 42 years old, but something to get your hopes up at least. Aaron Rodgers undefeated against these gentlemen. So they're an exploitable defense. I know Marlon Humphrey got hurt as well. I think there's an opportunity, despite the Steelers' offense looking like absolute garbage. The Ravens have not been much better, especially with a backup quarterback. So I'll say the Steelers. I think that they were able to get to Shedeur Sanders and Jared Goff into the quarterback very quickly. I think they can stop a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Josh breaks the tie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the thing, guys. I'm looking at it right now. I want to close with this, and you guys feel free to add anything before we close. But we're in the home stretch right now. Honestly, I don't care if Pittsburgh or Houston. I mean, if Pittsburgh or Jackson. I always say Jackson when I'm trying to say Baltimore. If Pittsburgh or Baltimore are the 4th seed, Houston's, in my opinion, going to beat them anyway. They're sacrificial lambs. I don't care.
Right.
If I'm being honest, the 4th seed in the NFC would likely be that NFC South. The 49ers are going to destroy them. Who cares?
Yep.
So I don't even care, because the reality is the 49ers and Houston will likely advance. Looking at, I'm curious, Tim, if you guys have to play the Bears, you're the 7 seed and they're the 2 seed, which is how it ended today. That's what it would be.
Right.
Are y'all winning that game?
Yeah, so I'd rather, as a Packers fan, I want the Bears. I want the Bears over. Well, I want the Bears instead of the Eagles. I think the Eagles are a tougher matchup. Yeah, I do. I think the Packers, such a brutal game 2 weeks ago, but the Packers had that game, and we wouldn't be having this conversation if Romeo Doubs falls on the onside kick. The Packers fumbled that game away more than the Bears won that game. The Bears are a very good team. I think I like the Packers' chances much better.
Stan, we joke around sometimes, and you know how, like, when a team has a bad couple weeks, you know they're not going to lose again, or when a team is really good, like last night, or the other night when the Rams lose to the Falcons, we joke and say the gods of football tend to have their way. Here's the irony, and here's the gods of football rearing their ugly head. 2 games to talk about if potentially if this works out. The 2 seed New England Patriots would host the 7 seed Buffalo Bills.
Amazing.
And that could go either way.
Do you want to mention the other game, or you want me to talk about that one first? I'll
talk about that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be incredible to watch. So Drake Maye, let's go back to this. Year 2, correct? He's year 2 for Drake Maye. Okay. We were talking about the coach of the Bills. His name's
McDermott.
McDermott. If they lose like in an earlier round to a year 2 Drake Maye, I mean, we were talking about hot seat. I mean, that is the ultimate hot seat. Losing to the Patriots with a year 2 QB, absolutely. 100%. And he's got to go. He's got to go at that point. You got to bring someone in here who's going to get you over the hump. But that would be a fun game to watch for sure.
Something to add before I talk about the other one?
Yeah, Sean McDermott. We talked about it earlier, but it's been sinking in as I've been thinking about it. He's been there a decade, and they haven't. I mean, the closest they got was losing to the Chiefs in that overtime fiasco like 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, I think they do need to change if they lose, especially if they lose early.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Here's the other one that I think is just ironic as all get out. The Rams 6 seed will be playing the Eagles, the 3rd seed. And we know how that game went early in the year. I don't think we'll see a repeat of that. But as you know, too, Stan, we've been pretty critical of the Eagles in that they win. They're great. They're a championship team. We can't take anything away from them. But I just can't figure out who they are.
Yeah. Go ahead, Josh. You go ahead.
I was going to talk about, since you mentioned the Rams, their loss to the Falcons took them out of contention to play against the NFC South. So they were projected in a win against the Falcons to play against whoever that would be at that point in time, would be the Bucs or the Panthers, because they would have beaten the Falcons. But they don't have that opportunity anymore. So now they get a much more difficult matchup.
Yeah.
The Eagles do, or the Rams?
The Rams.
The Rams.
The Rams, having to go face Philadelphia is essentially what we're saying. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you, Dave. The Eagles win ugly. I don't know how they win half the time. It's kind of weird voodoo. I'd probably still take the Rams in that first round if they meet each other in the first round. I'd probably take the Rams, but who's to say? The Eagles do find a way to win, and it's really odd.
That is wild.
Like 13-12 with no offensive yards in the second half. It's just ridiculous.
Well, I hate to say it. Really right now, the Jags would be 3, Chargers 6. I think the Jags win that one. I mean, and then we're talking about the Eagles being 3 and 6. Seeds. We pretty much covered it. Like that's the playoff right now. It could change, as you said. It could be Tampa Bay. It could be Carolina. But they're sacrificial lambs. And to me, it doesn't matter if the Seahawks get number 1. If they don't, then that means the 49ers get number 1. And either one of them are going to shellac the NFC South. So
that's right.
I agree.
It's ridiculous. All right.
The problem with the NFC South is, yes, they're sacrificial lambs, but they're also that team in week 1 of the playoffs that could just take out. Because the NFC is so loaded, a team that it should be, one of the top contenders there.
The problem with the Bucs, though, and I don't see this with Carolina yet because they're still trying to figure it out, and they've made steps forward. But I can see Baker coming in and dropping dimes and beating you by 44-31 because they're capable. They haven't been capable the last 6 weeks, but they're a team. I don't know
what it is. Yeah, no. Finish your point with the Bucs. I was going to mention something about the Panthers.
They're just a team that, yes, they're playing poorly, and they still almost win. They're in every game. They lose, by a very narrow margin. But you never know if they do make it in. They're a team that could come in and go toe to toe with you because they have the firepower. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I would just say I'm more fearful of the Panthers if I have to play them. The Bucs are a team that just lost in prime time in a matchup that they could have won, and then this last week to Quinn Ewers of all people on a team that's probably going to fire their head coach. So I don't know what the Bucs are, even though they have all their guys back now, right, other than Tristan Wirfs. But the Panthers, Tim said it once or twice, they haven't won back-to-back games. And so for some reason you have the Panthers that can beat the Rams and destroy the Rams, and then you have the Panthers that can go out there and throw 50 passing yards and do absolutely nothing. So I don't know. But the Panthers are in a situation to have a positive record, to win that division, and as we've seen, not in back-to-back games, but we've seen them come out and play and beat anybody, and then come out and also be terrible. Yeah. They beat the Packers, they beat the Rams, they scored 30-0 against the Falcons. They have what it takes, and we haven't seen that from the Buccaneers in the last month plus.
They're scrappy. They're scary.
To pile on to the Bucs, not to pile on, but I will. Yeah. They held their opponent quarterbacks to the lowest QBR in weeks 1 through 9. It's a 43% QBR, 43 QBR rating, and then weeks 10 through 17. They gave up the highest QBR rating in the league. That's crazy. So from weeks 1 to 9, best defense in theory, and then worst defense against quarterbacks.
Tim, you bring up a point. I was just thinking how the Bucs are like the AFC version of the Colts. Start off really hot and then just kind of all collapse. Remember early in the year, Baker was an MVP candidate, and all this stuff, and they just fell off a cliff.
Yeah, great comparison.
It's wild. What is it? Are they injured? Their offense was hurt and they played okay through it, and then they get it back and they're not good. Is their defense decimated? What's going on?
I don't have an answer because they're not as injured as the Colts though. The Colts have definite injuries.
Or the Lions.
I don't know. Or the the Lions defense is always injured. But anyway, I don't want to change the subject. Caleb, you were going to say something about the Bucs.
Yeah, they've just been too injured. I think all of their linemen have missed time this year. Baker Mayfield's playing through a shoulder, a hand, an ankle, a knee at one point. He left halfway through a game, missed half that game. They lost that game. Obviously, their wide receivers have been all out. Godwin's playing with a broken bone still. He's still recovering from it. It's a weird situation. He's playing through some injuries still to that bone. And obviously, Mike Evans coming back in 7 weeks from a broken collarbone, which is crazy. He's playing through that. Bucky Irving with his broken foot. The whole team has been, offense at least, has been destroyed. And just having chemistry coming back week to week with different guys, I feel like it weighs on them. But I don't know what, like Tim brought up, with the defensive stats, that I don't understand that part because Levante David's played most games. Shabashie Dennis has played most of their games. They're 2 starting linebackers, and I think their DB room's been pretty healthy too. So I don't really understand what's going on there with their coach being a defensive-minded head coach. So very weird.
It's a mystery.
Yeah. Well, I think that with the lineup, then the matchups that we're seeing, bar a couple that we think should be early exits, which they're designed to be, let's be fair. But in fairness, these are the 4 and 5 seeds that are, in my opinion, going to be blowouts, not the 1 and 7, or 2 and 7,
What are the early exits for the AFC then?
Well, again, if it ended today, we can only go with what's today. Like I said, the 4 seeds, Pittsburgh, could be the Ravens. And the 5 seeds, Houston, I think Houston's a better team. I think they're a playoff team. I don't think the Ravens and Steelers deserve it this year. That, to me, is an early exit. And that's the AFC. I said it was ironic that the Patriots are going to be hosting the Bills right now, the 2 and 7 seed. That's supposed to be the one that's lopsided that you have the advantage. But these two teams are very well matched.
They are.
So
I'll tell you, it better be the Patriots as an early exit because they could live they can live from that. If the Bills have an early exit, all hell is going to break loose.
And that's what I mean. Josh, every team on the AFC is going to be. Here's what I mean: if the Steelers get in and they're out, that's an early exit. They didn't expect. Right now, Jacksonville has all the momentum against the Chargers, that would be a huge early exit for them. And like you said, the Bills cannot afford to go out to Drake Maye in the first round. In my opinion, you probably move on from your coaching staff at this point. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
Because no matter what happens in Green Bay and Chicago, no one's getting fired. No matter what happens with the Rams and Philly, well, maybe that's something we need to talk about. I don't think either coach gets fired.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Philly fans are crazy. They
they are.
Stop that talk.
If anything, I could see Kevin, their OC, getting fired because he's been kind of not good this year. But Sirianni lives or dies by his coordinators anyway. We talked about it previous weeks. But Sirianni's, if you watch Hard Knocks, he's great motivator. I don't think that he's
Carolina
a terrible coach.
and the 49ers, no one's getting fired there. And if the Bucs made it over Carolina, no one's getting fired there. That's what I'm saying.
No,
I don't think anyone's getting
done
fired.
a great job with the Panthers.
Yeah, he really is. Stan, I'm curious. Last week we talked about should either of the coaches for Baltimore and Pittsburgh go, because there's a lot of criticism this year that both both coaches have outlived their time and they should be moving forward. What is your general thought on that as a whole?
Well, yeah, I do think over time, the message can just kind of get lost when you're saying the same message year in, year out. It does happen from time to time. And so maybe that's happening in Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Maybe they need to, change the scenery, a new team, a fresh start. So my answer would be I could totally see one or both of those coaches not necessarily getting fired or maybe having a mutual agreement to step away. I don't know, because these guys have been there forever. They both won Super Bowls, correct? They both got one Super Bowl.
That's right.
Yeah, they both got one. So my thought is, yes, I could see it happening certainly for at least one of them.
And ironically, they both replaced Super Bowl winning coaches, which is what they do also.
Yeah, I have these games pulled up for those teams specifically. So the Ravens under John Harbaugh, their most recent win would be last year against the Pittsburgh Steelers, against Russell Wilson. But before that, it was rookie C.J. Stroud, the 2023 season, which would be it's in 2024 because it's in January, the playoff time, of course. But rookie C.J. Stroud. Tennessee Titans, Ryan Tannehill, and then Big Ben in 2014. So it's not a ton of wins in the last 10 to 12 years. Now you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, the last guys that they have won against in the playoffs, Matt Moore in 2016, Miami Dolphins.
That's crazy.
And then Alex Smith the same season, the great year that they had. And then the Cincinnati Bengals, I think it was A.J. McCarron playing for Andy Dalton in the playoffs. So the guys that these guys are playing against,
3 and 4 wins, those two teams.
Yeah, young players, backup quarterbacks, and it's been a long time combined for both of them to go on a run.
Yeah. Let me just add one thing too. It's been even longer for Tomlin, based on the stats you just said, than it has been for Harbaugh. And if
10 years for Tomlin.
Yeah, and if the Steelers miss the playoffs this year, this is a good time. It's a good time, but we'll see what happens.
10 years without a playoff win.
The problem I think we have, guys, is you get I don't think the common regular NFL fan realizes that owners and GMs and culture matters. And I say that because you see a team like the Packers somehow, and I know they're like corporately owned or, have been in the past and all that, but this team consistently knows who they are and know how to run a franchise. So you see quarterback after quarterback after quarterback getting in the playoffs, winning playoff games. It's their culture. The Steelers, the Ravens, they figured it out. But there are teams like the Jets, and in my opinion, the Cincinnati Bengals, that their ownership holds them back. And I say all that to say the hardest part for me to wrap my head around is the organizations of Pittsburgh and Baltimore moving on, because they've been very loyal, and I think they'll continue to be loyal to their coaches. The Rooneys know how to run a franchise, period. And the Ravens have proven they do too. They've been relevant for decades. So, I know Dallas gets a lot of scrutiny because of Jerry, and people assume he's too, but Jerry's not on the sideline with a clipboard like Irsay is doing now, So I think Jerry has been a reputable GM, and he's been a pioneer. But I agree that Dallas's culture has not always been a winning culture, and that's something different. Go ahead, Kib, you had a joke.
When they cut Diggs today was the same day that the other Diggs has assault charge, and the joke was that Jerry Jones thought it was his guy and fired the wrong Diggs.
I will say sources close to the Cowboys have all but confirmed at this point that they are moving on from Eberflus after the season. that they don't typically like to make those in the middle of a season. There's nothing to gain particularly from moving on from him, but there looks to be some effort to move forward but without him.
I will say with not being a head coach firings, it's interesting to see someone like the Rams, I think last week, fired their special teams guy because of what happened in the Seattle game. Like just this deep into the season, just see ya. So I mean, anybody can get fired at this point if they're not living up to the standard.
Yeah. No, and also teams like Detroit have done it the right way. Like they hire a coach, they let him bring in his people. And it didn't take long. You start seeing signs of life. Yeah. The Vikings have done the same thing. We're seeing a lot. I was Stan. We've said this on the show. I've been very apprehensive of some of these young coaches that came in, and the reality is a lot of them have hit. A lot of them have really hit.
They've done really well. We were just talking about all the great coaches in the league right now. I mean, there's a few that probably should be on the hot seat, but there's some good coaching going on in the NFL for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Any closing
Dave,
thoughts?
You bring up a good point.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Dave, you bring up a good point too about Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Loyalty is one of the things that ownership has, but sometimes you can be loyal to a fault, and it can be holding them back a little bit. So
yeah, I think Jerry's loyal to a fault sometimes. Like I think that Jerry does that with Dallas. Like he really cares about people, and for a businessman like him, that's reputable. But it's business. And I hate to say that, but there's times when you need to move on, and I think he's not. Tim, do you have any closing thoughts about ownership, GMs, coaches, anything?
No, my only one that we kind of glazed over was Tampa Bay. I do think Todd Bowles could be on the hot seat. I do think because they have underperformed this year. I know tons of injuries, but that one would not shock me. But yeah, I mean that's a very specific point. But in general, I think you're right. You look at some of these franchises that have been stable for so many times. They don't make knee-jerk reactions. They build the team the right way. They develop their quarterbacks. They don't throw them right into the fire. But then sometimes you have teams like the Jets that just cannot seem to get it right. But the beauty of it is there's hope for all these fans, because you look at a team like New England that won, 4 or 5 games last year, I think, and they turned it around very quickly. So if you get the right people in the right place, if you're listening to this and your team's in last place right now, there's hope. There's hope.
Yeah. Go ahead, John.
Raiders fans.
To support what Tim was saying, Todd Bowles' record as a head coach, I think this includes when he was in Miami for, it looks like 3 games, but he was 60-74 all time in his total 9 years of coaching as a head coach. He only has 2 seasons with double-digit wins, and both of those seasons are 10 wins exactly. So he's not exactly been a great coach at any point through his 9 years. So to underperform, I mean, more frequently than other guys that have been coaching for 9 years, I think it's worth the same question as someone like Kevin Stefanski.
Right.
Yeah, he's a good coach. I think a lot of guys like him, but at some point when the failure continues to be there, a 7-9 season, an 8-9 season, or 7-10 potential this year, you got to look and potentially have a change because he has not exceeded 10 wins in a season.
And they just let Liam Cohen walk, who had Baker Mayfield have an MVP-type season last year. So,
which
very interesting.
It always happens. All right, absolute last thought, guys, but this is newsworthy, so I just want to get your feedback. I think it's been known within the Vikings organization for the last couple of months that Brian Flores is probably coaching his last couple of games as defense coordinator. That said, obviously they're working. I've heard Dallas is working to bring him in, but he wants to be on the open market in 2 weeks and likely is a candidate again for a head coaching job. That said, I'm curious what your feedback would be because right now he still has a lawsuit pending against the NFL. Very hard to get a head coaching job when you're suing the boss. But he has proven
that doesn't exist.
Well, he has proven
for this theoretical. Yeah,
it's theoretical. Well, it exists, but he has proven that he is an incredible defense coordinator. And I don't think his track record as a head coach in Miami was very good. But what are your general thoughts? What is your guess on Brian Flores and what might happen with him? And this will be our final point.
I can go quick. I think the NFL needs to change the Rooney Rule. I think it's a little silly. It wastes people's time, like bringing in people that are not going to hire anyway. And I think that's part of what this lawsuit is. Am I right?
Yeah,
someone else. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. But I think they need to readdress that rule that was made in the 60s where the world was obviously in a different place and just reevaluate that to start before this lawsuit continues, I think. I think Brian Flores deserves a crack at another job because as we've seen, he's been one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. And there are a lot of teams that have good OCs that need a head coach. I mean, the Giants right now, their offense is young. It's very malleable, but their defense is built to be a contend now defense, as we've seen with all the players that they had, with Brian Burns being top 3 in sacks and being the player that he is. So I think he deserves a shot at somewhere like the Giants. And I think that this whole lawsuit thing and rule thing should be addressed this offseason and just kind of changed and fixed. I think it could be easy, but that's just my opinion.
Anybody else want to chime in?
I agree with Caleb. I mean, he should get another shot at some point. Still pretty young. He had, one kind of a tumultuous experience. It was in Miami, right?
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. But, look at guys like, other coordinators have had multiple shots. Was McDaniels, he had 1 or 2 coaching jobs before he's finally back?
Yeah.
I mean, or was it just the one in Denver? Was it one in Denver or did he have another one?
Yeah, he was with the Raiders.
Yeah.
That's
the Colts
right. So
always wanted him to bring him in. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do think Brian Flores should get at least another shot and hopefully he can do well with it.
Yeah.
Tim, you have any thoughts?
No, I agree with everything you're saying. You're right on, man.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention
go ahead.
The vacancies that are at least there. Right now, we know the Tennessee Titans are available. The New York Giants are available. Sounds like the Raiders will be available. And then the Dolphins, but we know he's not going to go back to the Dolphins. Caleb was kind of referencing the situation where they, teams had to essentially interview him because he's not a white guy or he's different ethnicity. So they had to bring in somebody. And because the Giants brought in Brian Flores and Brian Daboll, the same name, Bill Belichick in his wisdom mentioned and texted the wrong Brian because they both coached him at some point and said congratulations, and that just added to all the drama. So I don't think he's a Giant, but I think he can look beyond that if the opportunity arises for him. But right now, Titans, Giants, Raiders, Dolphins.
I don't know here, and I'll close with this, guys. I've said this. I've been very critical. Dan Quinn got hired because essentially Ben Johnson backed out on Washington last minute, and Dan Quinn was the last man standing. Dan Quinn's not a good head coach. He's not. He's probably a wonderful human being. I'm sure his kids love him, and he's a great defense coordinator. He should stay coaching defense. You could not get me if I played offense growing up. So if I was an offense coordinator and you're paying me well and I enjoy my job and we're reputable, I'm never leaving, bro. I don't see the need to feed my ego to be the man when I can hold up, the man's arms and keep this team rolling. That's why I respect what's going on with the way that the Kansas City Chiefs have had, reputable defense coordinator and Nagy's come back and also like Dan Quinn, just, man, you had your chance to be a head coach. Like it won't be long in Washington, before the wheels fall off. We've said that.
Yeah. Dave, I agree with you too. And I kind of I think Josh McDaniels finally accepted his role too. Right?
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
He knows he's going to be an OC. Yeah. And he knows he's going to be an OC now. And he's one of the best, best OCs.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with your point, Dave.
Yeah. Because I don't know what's next for Eberflus. Someone will hire him as a defense coordinator but that was not a good experience in Dallas.
My argument for people like Dan Quinn and Todd Bowles to retain their jobs for another year is this doesn't seem to be a strong cycle for head coaches. Like the previous year, we had Ben Johnson for 2 or 3 years. We had all these young guys, Kellen Moore leading top-level offenses. Right now, you're really talking about Marcus Freeman and Cignetti from the college level, potentially, because of their success there. But the head coaching hires, you touched on Brian Flores. Who are we going to bring in? Robert Saleh a year after being fired? I don't know. Cliff Kingsbury again?
No, that's a great example. And Aaron Glenn, bro. How long is he really going to be with the Jets curse?
Yeah, 1 more year, I would say, at least.
Yeah.
Well, they've already moved on from their young quarterback. So, anyway, guys, this has been great. Week 18, final. Do you think Miles is going to get his sack this week?
Good one.
Yes.
He plays Joe Burrow, I believe.
Then he should get 3.
100%.
We'll have a new all-time sack leader we can celebrate.
Well,
he just needs one. He just needs one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or half.
One. Half to tie, one to take
half
the lead.
Tie, yeah. I think the way that the world works, he'll get a half, and him, TJ Watt, Michael Strahan will be a three-way tie.
That's what I'm saying. The gods of football will be like, not so fast. Yeah. Yeah. Well, guys, as always, it's been great. It's been a good season. It always goes by too fast, but this is the last week we'll get to forecast a full week. After this, we're talking about the playoffs and the buys. And then, of course, we'll be winding up our season as podcasters, too. So, I appreciate you guys. Stan, great having you. You're a football guy, bro. I know you feel like you said you didn't feel like you had enough to say, but, bro, great job tonight. Appreciate having you. We'll have you anytime you're free. You have an open invitation for sure. We have one more guest next week to talk about the last week. I'll tease. I won't tell you who it is, but we have one more. Tim knows who it is. So we're excited about that. We never really had guests. Tim was kind of a guest for a while, and then he became a regular. Yeah. So we love having him. So appreciate you guys. As always, make sure you guys like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. We really appreciate it. Write a review. We're available anywhere podcasts are available. We're available also on YouTube. So as always, guys, appreciate you all. We will get back together next week, and we will find out the playoff picture once and for all. So once again, we'll see you next time on Guys Without Helmets.